All right, welcome everyone. Today, we are unpacking the blueprint of one of the world's absolutely most remarkable leaders, Nelson Mandela. We're going to break down the exact habits, a truly proven roadmap for success that took a man from unimaginable hardship all the way to shifting the entire course of human history. This isn't just some dusty history lesson, okay? It is a masterclass in human potential. The habits we're diving into today are practical, they're incredibly powerful, and they are entirely applicable to your life right now. But before we get to those specific habits, 27. I really want you to let the magnitude of that number sink in. 27 years. That is how much time Nelson Mandela spent locked away in prison. We're talking about over a quarter of a century of his life just taken away. So when we talk about his habits of success, we have to frame them against this staggering reality. These aren't just neat little concepts he brainstormed in a comfy corner office. These are literal survival mechanisms forged in the absolute toughest conditions you could possibly imagine.
Okay, let's dive into this. Phase 1, the foundation of resilience.
We're going to start our journey from the inside out. Because, well, before you can change the world, you really have to secure your own mind. Think about it. If a person is unjustly imprisoned for decades, what is the natural, completely expected human reaction? It's revenge, right? Hate, serious bitterness. But despite everything he lost, Mandela actively chose love and forgiveness. And this wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate, highly strategic choice that basically set the stage for the whole shebang, everything he would eventually accomplish. And that profound choice brings us right to his very first habit: never give up. Even in those impossible, completely suffocating circumstances, Mandela never abandoned his ultimate goals. He understood something really fundamental that we often tend to forget in our fast-paced modern world. True, lasting change, it requires immense patience and relentless hard work. He knew the timeline of his success wasn't totally up to him, but his refusal to quit, that was entirely in his control. I'm actually pulling Habit 7 up to this point in our explainer because it's the engine that powered that refusal to give up. Never lose hope. His ability to endure incredibly difficult circumstances wasn't just blind stubbornness. It was fueled by a deep, unwavering belief that a new morning always follows the dark night. No matter how incredibly bleak the situation became, he just kept his eyes locked on that inevitable sunrise. Moving on to Phase 2, mastering the inner mind.
So, if hope and resilience are your foundation, how do you actually maintain them day after day, year after year, inside a concrete box? Well, that leads us to Habit 2. Mandela didn't see discipline as some restrictive chore or a punishment. He viewed it as humanity's greatest strength. It was literally his armor. In a place where he had zero control over his surroundings, his discipline was the one domain where he held absolute total power.
Now, what's really interesting here is how surprisingly simple his routine actually was. Step 1, wake up on time. Step 2, exercise. Step 3, read every single day. He kept himself mentally and physically strong through these basic, repetitive actions. Just think about that for a second. If Nelson Mandela could maintain this strict daily discipline inside a tiny prison cell, what's stopping us from maintaining our own routines in our comfortable daily lives? This is exactly how you build an unbreakable mind.
Now, you probably noticed that reading was a key part of that daily routine, which brings us to Habit 3, never stop learning. Mandela was a voracious, lifelong reader. He was constantly absorbing new information and learning new things. He recognized that a strong, active, highly educated mind was absolutely essential for survival and for keeping his grand vision alive. And this wasn't just, actually, scratch that. It wasn't casual self-improvement at all. Education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. Let that linger for a moment. He literally viewed learning as a weapon, a tangible tool for global transformation. The more you know, the more equipped you are to dismantle injustice and build something way better. Knowledge was his core strategy.
Which brings us to Phase 3, the power of empathy.
Once his inner fortress of discipline and education was totally secured, he could finally focus outward. And that brings us to Habit 4, learn to forgive. This is where we see a truly shocking pivot in how he treated his captors and his fellow citizens. After 27 lost years, when he finally had the power to punish the exact people who had imprisoned him, he chose otherwise. His greatest act of true greatness was choosing to unite a fractured country through forgiveness rather than tearing it further apart through revenge. He forgave so that his nation could actually heal.
Let's see how that mindset builds right into Habit 5. Whether he was speaking to the most powerful, influential world leaders or just ordinary, everyday citizens on the street, Mandela treated everyone with the exact same level of respect. He didn't alter his demeanor based on someone's status. Everyone received his full, undivided dignity. And here is exactly why this matters for you and me. Respect builds these strongest relationships. Full stop. If you want to create a lasting impact in your career, your local community, or even just your family, treating everyone with a baseline of profound respect is the ultimate foundation. It disarms enemies, it totally empowers allies, and it creates these incredible, unbreakable human connections. All right, phase 4, a purpose beyond yourself. We've seen how he built his inner strength, and we've seen how he treated those around him. Now let's look at how all those habits manifested into a massive global legacy. Habit 6, work for a larger goal. You see, his 27-year struggle, it was never just about Nelson Mandela getting out of jail. It was never just about his own personal freedom. His entire existence was dedicated to the liberation, the equality, and the welfare of his entire society. So the crucial point here is what we can call the impact multiplier. When your focus shifts away from yourself and onto the welfare of others, your overall impact doesn't just add up, it multiplies exponentially. When your core purpose is to elevate the people around you, your life takes on a weight and a significance that self-serving goals can simply never, ever achieve. Which brings us to this absolutely iconic, incredible quote that perfectly summarizes his entire worldview. I never lose, I either win or learn. I mean, what a phenomenal way to look at life. It perfectly encapsulates everything we've talked about today. If you have the discipline, the commitment to education, the patience, the respect, the forgiveness, and the unyielding hope that Mandela had, failure literally ceases to exist. Every setback just becomes a lesson. These are the habits that make anyone, anywhere, truly great. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought, derived straight from the source material. We've seen the blueprint. We know the 7 habits. If you adopt these into your own life, success is no longer just some distant dream. So, when will success become your reality? The roadmap is right there. The choice to walk it is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely can't wait to see what you build with these pillars.